Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine
What's
a light
your
on
story?
incredible impact. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission? Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I am your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and trial attorney focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, we are joined by Karen Roy of Numotion, the Numotion Brand Ambassador. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Josh. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we are excited. I'm excited to have you here today. You're an amazing person. I love you to pieces, and I can't wait for you to share with the world a little bit more about you. So let's just do that. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. When I was a college student at Louisiana State University in 1987, I was a sophomore. I had a really cute boyfriend. He played guitar. We went to a LSU football game. And then we went to this blues place that he was going to be playing music that night. We went out into the parking lot to go home. My car had been broken into, and the next thing we knew, somebody put a gun to Mike's head. Someone grabbed me from behind, hit me over the head, took my purse with my $2 in it. And then because of a scuffle for the control of the gun on my boyfriend's side of the car, that kid screamed to his friend, "Shoot him, Dodie, shoot him." When he screamed that, the first thing the kid did, even though he already had my purse, was shoot me point blank in the back. I had a punctured lung. I received 8 units of blood that night. Was so sure I was dying, and actually really not that afraid. It was kind of it was an incredible experience, terrible, but amazing as well. That left me with a T10 complete spinal cord injury, so I'm basically paralyzed from the waist down, and I've been a manual wheelchair user for, it was 35 years 2 days ago. So Monday was my rebirth anniversary, I consider it to be. And after that, I went back to college and got a master's degree in social work. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I did that for 20 years. I got married, and my kids are 28, 25, and 22. And I, for 7 years now, work for Numotion, and I guess it's been about 3 that I'm their brand ambassador. So that includes some government relations pieces, representation at a lot of the nonprofits that we support for people with disabilities, and creating content, including my own podcast.
And tell us about your podcast.
It's called Life Possible with a Disability with Karen Roy. But if you look it up, it's available on any platform that you listen to a podcast. I have a video version up on my YouTube channel. So, and I believe that one's just Karen Roy. But and you can follow. I usually post clips on my social media, which is also Life Possible KR.
I love it. Recommend everybody to follow, subscribe. It's great content from a great person, and there's never a dull moment. Always fun stories and life learning stories that are powerful. So Karen, you're awesome. You. So let's talk a little bit more about Numotion. So Numotion is a CRT company. Mm-hmm. What does CRT stand for?
That's a great question. It is Complex Rehabilitation Technology. So what makes us different from like a company that sells wheelchairs, so for like airports, or if someone breaks their leg and it's a temporary disability, rolling walkers, that's considered DME or durable medical equipment. We do fall under that sort of overarching umbrella, but we specifically, these are wheelchairs that are custom configured for each person. So in Josh's case, his mouth control, the way that he controls his computer, his wheelchair, his tilt, recline, all of that is done with whatever the person has to use, right? So all of our disabilities are so unique and individual. My manual chair is CAD drawn to my body. So what makes it complex is it is customized completely for the individual. And so yeah, CRT, and it's good for all of us to know that, because honestly, it's something we have to continue to advocate to keep. So it's an important distinction.
Yeah, we've been on Capitol Hill together where the CMS and other insurers want to cut, what the reimbursement rate is to keep this equipment on our bodies and really make it so that we have this. Which, to tell you the truth, it is so customized from my toes to my head. Every single thing that is put onto this chair has a purpose, has a reason, and it allows me to live a better quality of life. My seat cushion is a very specific seat cushion mapped to my
Me
booty,
too. Yeah.
and it prevents bed sores. And if you don't have the right seat cushion and you don't have it customized to you, next thing you know, you're in the hospital with a bed sore that takes over your life for anywhere from months to years.
Right.
So every little piece of it allows us to have safer experiences in the community, but also allows us to access the community, even outside of our homes, which a lot of times they're like, this equipment's made for your home. No, it's made for living.
That's another argument that we have with CMS, which is the in the home rule, because they misinterpreted a long time ago some language where they only approve equipment if it's for use in the home, as though we don't leave our homes. And you make a good point. If you're in the hospital for months, years, you can't earn income, you can't pay taxes, you become a consumer of government money and not a producer. And from the naked eye, from across the Walmart, someone's used, they have no idea the intricacies that go into this chair. The overfill, like I have a cushion, I prefer a gel cushion. Well, I lean to the right, so there is overfill on that side, or I would develop a pressure sore pretty quickly.
In Numotion, how many customers do you have, and where are you guys national? Tell me more about
Yeah, we have over probably 160 locations. I don't even know the number of customers we have, but we are the largest supplier of complex rehabilitation in the country. And I mean, obviously, I think we are the leader in the industry in so many ways. So we take care of a lot of customers, and these days it's not just in providing the CRT, but suppliers are responsible for repairing chairs, and we have a lot of that's another advocacy issue is right now with supply chain issues and the expenses of everything, we're not like other businesses in that we can pass on that cost to the customer. We are regulated by Medicare, and we have a fee schedule, so the costs that have increased exponentially, we as an industry are really suffering for that right now. And then from a service end, there's a lot of smaller companies that it's a money losing proposition at this point to repair wheelchairs, keep vans on the road, and these very highly skilled technicians to fix this technology we just discussed. So it's we take it all very, very seriously. We know that, it's inconvenient for cars in the shop. If your chair's in the shop, our lives stop. So we're doing everything we can to keep that moving and stay on the cutting edge of things as everything, the environment, especially the financial environment, changes.
And so you earlier were saying a little bit about the importance of getting outside of our homes. And one of the things that you did a few years back, getting outside of your home, winning Miss Wheelchair America 2019. Tell us more about that. How'd you get involved in that? What did it mean when you did win?
Yeah. So I learned in rehab in 1987, when I first went, that the equipment that they were telling me that would help keep me healthy. So standing devices, and for me specifically functional electrical stimulation. So I use a bicycle that has electrodes on my glutes, quads, hamstrings, front and back of my leg. They were saying that those things were not covered by insurance, that they were not medically necessary. At the same time, they're telling me, if you don't do these things, you'll get a pressure sore, or you could die. So I was like, well, how is it then not medically necessary? So this was pre-ADA that I was like, wow, we're going to have to fight for this. And I just never stopped fighting for it. So, I mentioned that I got 2 degrees and then I became a mother. And so I worked as a social worker and had a bunch of kids. So when they were all starting to like launch, I was like, I wanted to get more involved in advocacy on both state and federal levels. So I knew about the Miss Wheelchair America organization, which is completely based off of your history of advocacy and your ability to articulate your platform. So not a beauty contest. I don't have to sing or dance because that would be bad for everyone. It is completely based off of your advocacy history. And I was like, you know what? I might have the time now that the kids are older to do this. So I did Miss Wheelchair Louisiana 2018. And if you put a crown on your head and you have a message to deliver, magically people who didn't listen before start listening. So I went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, competed with about 30 other women advocates and wheelchair users, and I ended up winning. And I was in 25 states, 43 cities, and did over 80 speaking appearances during that year.
That's amazing. Sounds like that crown gave you some superpowers.
It did. It is crazy. Like the crown probably came from Amazon, and it doesn't matter. Like you can roll into any room, you can roll into any TV station, you can roll into any legislative office, and all of a sudden Senator Cassidy comes out. It's not just the staffer. And I mean, I knew it was a blessing and an opportunity, and it was finite, and I took it very seriously.
Is this crown, did you have to give it back? Like, no, I want this thing. I want to be able to get it anywhere.
I have it. I have it. It's they gave me this like clear box. And so when I traveled that year, it was in a clear box, and people were like, why do you have a crown? And then, I had business cards and websites so that they could go and figure out like what this is all about. You get to keep your crown. And then right recently, our mutual friend, Ali started calling me, gosh, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, like, what is this all about? What would I need to do? What do you think of these platforms? Like, so we just been talking about it, and she recently won Miss Wheelchair America 2023.
Yeah, Ali.
That's right.
She's our 2022.
2022.
Is it 2022 or 2023?
You win in the year, but you're named the next year. That's what I won in the end of 2018, but I was Miss Wheelchair America 2019.
Nice. So that is a great accomplishment, but I want to ask, what is your biggest accomplishment that you're most proud of in your life?
My 3 children. It's like not a hard question. Yeah, they're, incredible young adults. We've been through a good bit of trials and tribulations. I lost my husband to a fentanyl overdose, which is another national crisis of a different type. Very brilliant man, brilliant electrical engineer, and just suffered from. But my kids have their mom being in a wheelchair, by the way, is not one of the things that we count as they think that they've watched me parent, grocery shop, be room mom, work, and take care of them. So they don't even see the wheelchair as it's kind of yeah, she can't walk, but she can do everything else. And so, but they've turned out to be amazing adults, and I'm just really proud of all of them, and I'm having fun watching them turn into adults.
Young adults with bright futures, with a great mom. That's of course going to be what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So with your injury, what would you say is some of the best lessons learned and perspectives gained from having a spinal cord injury for, you said 35 years?
Yeah, 35 years and 2 days. Wow, that perspective is everything. We can't control what happens to us, only how we handle it. Being angry at people only hurts you and not the person you're angry at. Living with a spinal cord injury teaches you patience. It teaches you what is and is not really important at the end of the day. I think it is a superpower in and of itself, because at 19, luckily, I got real quick perspective on the fact that you can be alive 1 minute and gone tomorrow. And what are you going to do with that time?
And during your years, you've kind of seen the world transform from an accessibility standpoint. So, like, your injury occurred before the ADA even existed. How would you kind of tell us about that transition and life on wheels of before the ADA, during the kind of transitional years when the ADA was kind of starting to be implemented in the world we live in today?
Yeah, so I was, went right back to school as soon as I could the next semester. Louisiana State University, like a lot of other public institutions, there were boards over steps, over very steep staircases. So there would be like a door, and I mean, forget about an automatic door opener. That wasn't even really a thing. Very, very rare. So you had this big, heavy door, and you might have space to get your wheelchair in the door, and then you immediately are faced with this really steep slope to get up. We had, I know, shocking, we had actual books like that were like this big, and sometimes I had those like in my backpack. So I had to pretty much get inside the door and wait for someone to push me up to the top of the ramp. And then a lot of the buildings didn't, like when I got my master's degree, there was no elevator. So I got an entire master's degree, never having gone to any faculty offices. They had to come down to me after I left. They did get an elevator, but I mean, we were dealing with really old buildings, right? And I had a professor my first semester back. They had to move a classroom from an upstairs room to a downstairs room, and I went to him just to let him know I'd not been in class, but that there was a reason. And he was like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you expect? You think that I'm going to do something extra for you that I wouldn't do for someone else? And I was like, no, sir, I just letting you know, if you were taking roll, I had no way to get to class. I think I made it outside the building before I burst into tears and then called my parents. But of course, so yeah, there was no, like that, not everyone was that mean, but they could be, and there was no recourse. So things have changed a great deal. I travel all the time. I travel the country. I wherever I want to go, and obviously, we still run into obstacles, air travel, breaking our wheelchairs, someone saying a room is accessible when it really isn't, all that kind of stuff. But it's really nothing compared to what, we were without curb cuts, in a lot of places where I would get to a point where I just had to wait for someone to, depending on how big it was. I've never been a good wheelie popper, but yeah, and we've made a lot of progress.
Absolutely. And there's still more progress to be done, more barriers to be broken down, and if you want to call it the fight, but the advocacy efforts continue. There's barriers in all aspects of life, and it's a matter of making sure that everywhere is as welcoming as possible, so that we have inclusion, we have the same opportunities as everyone else, and we're able to spend our money just like everyone else. It's when it comes to the business world, I'd love to know your insights. Why is it smart business to include people with disabilities? And what would you say to small businesses or any business of any size?
Yeah, so we have a lot of dollars to spend. The disability community is large, and it's one that, like, as we say all the time, anyone could join at any time. But I mean, we have lots of dollars to spend. We're buying cars and homes, and we want to go to restaurants, and we want to. So even in my home community, there's a really popular restaurant here that has never been accessible. And every time I talk to the manager, because I don't go in very often, but occasionally I will, and I'm like, and he's like, well, we're grandfathered in. And I'm like, heads up, it is 2022. Okay, like what are you talking about? So they're adding on, and now they're going to have to add accessible bathrooms. But, and I told the guy, I was like, not only have you missed out on like loads of money, because we spend money as a family on going out to eat quite a bit, but I'm like one of the more fun people, and you have missed out on 35 years of fun. And he's like,
Love that. So true.
right.
It's priceless. Money
I
can't
mean, you're lost,
price
dude.
on
Totally,
sharing
you're
more in your
lost.
life.
You lost all my money, and you lost all of this fun. So yeah, I mean, it's no joke the amount of money that we have to spend, right?
It's over $1 trillion a year in disposable income.
Right. Yeah.
That can be
Thank you
spent.
for that number, because I knew it was high and I couldn't remember. But yeah, like we have money to spend, and we have choices just like everyone else. And right now really would be a bad idea to do that, because now with social media, like back in the 90s or whatever, you couldn't just put it on social media and blast it out to the world. I saw a girl, I think she's from England, getting on an airline that we don't have here, but they didn't have an aisle chair for her they got her on the flight, but when she was leaving, they didn't. Her boyfriend videoed her. She's a paraplegic like me, literally scooting back the aisle. Not only would they not give her an aisle chair, they wouldn't give her any of the empty front seats. They made her scoot herself all the way to the back of the plane, and then her boyfriend like helped her get to the toilet at some point. She put that on video, and it's gone viral. So
yeah, no, I saw that. That's
so at your own risk as a business, we're consumers, and now we're joined in a way that we never were before worldwide. So yeah, it definitely could impact your bottom line.
Yeah, and in today's social media world, it's you don't want to block anybody from having access. That's just not the right thing to do. You're breaking more often than not. You're breaking the law.
Yeah.
And if you include people with disabilities, you're having access to 80 million people with disabilities, and then their disability community is made up of friends, family.
Yeah.
People with disabilities love to advocate for things that are great in their lives, and they also, when it's not great in their lives, they advocate, and that you'd rather be on the former side, and get the good press rather than the bad. So make yourself accessible. Do the right thing.
Make yourself accessible.
I was just saying, for the businesses, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
It's smart.
Yeah. Someone, the flight attendant told her that she should just wear a diaper, something to that effect. Yeah. So yeah.
We still have so much to do, Karen. I love it, but I just want to thank you so much for your time today and being on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions. This was wonderful. Your story is amazing. You've got so much to share with the world and continue to share with the world. So thank you for being here.
I value your friendship so much, and you as a leader in the disability community. Thank you, Josh, for all that you do, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Karen, and to all of our guests and viewers that have stayed to the end. Thank you for being here, and until next time, take care, everyone.